Hold on, I can't hear you.
I didn't say anything. I was speechless.
Should be able to hear you now.
I can hear you, yes.
Great.
Although your mic isn't the best, but apparently neither is mine. I was listening to myself. It's like, oi, my mic isn't very good right now.
I don't know what to do about that.
Who let Richard on here? Richard, how did you get in here?
Why am I starting? That's another question.
So, Max Friedman, my inspiration into becoming a therapist, and the man in whose footsteps I hope to follow.
Don't blame me.
I'm definitely blaming you. So, are we going to talk about the whole MSW thing now, or are you actually going to schedule a time and come on my channel and we'll have a conversation about it officially?
I mean, it's kind of up to you. Like, I was curious about the newsletter if you wanted to talk about it now.
Well, we
Or
can
else-
talk about it now and talk about it later. Boker
Why not both?
Tezi. Yes. So Monday, I told you that I was taking that substance abuse course, right? And I decided to still take the practicum for that course, and it starts on Monday, so we'll see what the practicum is like. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to get away from the practicum easily to come up north, or else I'm going to have to try to make the trip up north shorter. But I'll find out a bunch of stuff on Monday once the class actually starts.
Wow, so you're enrolled in 2 programs right now.
Yeah, like 3 units is nothing. Like 3 last semester I was taking 9 units at Pierce, and I was working. It was my busy season at work, and I got straight A's. Aren't you proud of me?
That hurts. That hurts.
You know, that reminds me. Like in school, I had never ever gotten a 4.0 until I enrolled in my MSW program, and then I got all A's the whole time.
Oh, this stuff is so ridiculous. I'm sorry, but like this is. Have you been reading my my assignments that I've been posting on Substack?
I've been reading some of it. I haven't paid to sign up for your premium access, so I can't read the whole thing from what I get.
There's only one. There's one paragraph and the references left. That's
Yeah.
it. It's like it's not like it's some long thing. Like you're reading the whole thing except for one paragraph.
Right. Well, from what I've read, it sounds like you're taking these assignments seriously and not phoning it in.
Well, yeah, I guess I'm not phoning it in, and my professor has been marking me down for that. I'm not being responsive to the prompt, and I'm writing things that I want, and I'm not just being like. So my grade has actually been suffering because I'm not just regurgitating like a few words from the thing like everybody else is, but like. Otherwise, I could never get myself through these 2 years. We'll see. We'll see if LSU is better than Walden University. You know, will it be? Tell me, please. It's at least a tiny bit better.
I mean, from my understanding, the accreditation board has so much sway with all the programs that they're all going to be similar in what they expect of you.
I contacted some of the anti-woke campaigners, and I asked like, are you guys, especially like, so I wasn't able to get into contact with Chris Rufo. I didn't even try with Chris Rufo, but so I don't know if you've been following his work, but DeSantis. So he's an anti-woke campaigner who was a journalist, And Ron DeSantis, Governor DeSantis, appointed him to the board of trustees
Wow.
of a university in Florida, and it was like that's battle lines. Like DeSantis is totally going in on this education stuff. He, I don't know if you heard about the Florida's rejection of the AP African American Studies course.
Didn't hear that one, though. I'm aware of some school choice movement.
That I hadn't heard of. But
Just like the idea is that they're funding individual students rather than funding public schools.
okay,
To if they want to do a charter school or some alternative.
that's beautiful. But so the College Board, which makes the advanced placement curriculum, the state of Florida rejected their AP African American Studies course as being indoctrination and racist.
Good.
Yeah. and so and frankly, like part of the thing, part of my newsletter is I'm documenting all the craziness a little bit of, because I would love to see the state of Florida just pull all social workers' credentials and be like, oh, see, at National Association of Social Workers? No, I'm sorry, you guys are just political hacks. That would be. I don't know who this person is.
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out.
Hey, what's up, guys? What are we talking about tonight? It's Kumar
Uh,
Fresh. That's my name. Just want to say hi.
Hello, Kumar Fresh. How did you find my channel and who are you?
Just saw it on Twitch, and I just thought I'd hop in. Just a guy who likes to talk to people, you know?
Okay. I see a skeleton behind you. You didn't actually murder anyone, did you?
No, that
You
came.
don't have to answer that.
I plead the fifth.
So Kumar Fresh, are you Pakistani?
No. It's just a fun name, Kumar Fresh. Yeah.
Okay. I see, said the blind man. Yeah, so my channel is mostly about biblical Hebrew, but we talk about all kinds of stuff.
Okay, that's sick.
Well,
I'm
I
here
hope
listening.
not too sick.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Are
so
you Jewish?
I am Jewish.
Okay. I just want to say I love Jews. You know, when Kanye was going out there saying he's a Nazi, dude, it was the worst day of my life. You know, it was the worst day of my life because I was like, my love. I've let Kanye do a lot of things, but my love for Jews is so high up there. You know, I couldn't. You know, I couldn't let this one go this time.
Okay, Kumar. One of the tropes on my channel is philo-Semitism is also a form of anti-Semitism.
What is? Say again.
Philo-Semitism is also a form of anti-Semitism.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Loving Jews just because they're Jews is.
Oh damn! I did it. Eh? I was doing anti-Semitic things, man. My love of just everything the Jews did. You know, it's just like, goddamn.
There are good Jews and there are bad Jews. Did I see a cat behind you?
Yeah, I have two cats. I don't know where this one. It just left.
It looked like an orange cat. Yeah, it's like there are good Jews and there are bad Jews, unfortunately, and like I don't love Muslims. I don't hate Muslims. I love some Muslims, and I don't really like some Muslims. Because like there are all kinds of people, and I think treating people as individuals is really important. And
Yeah,
that's just one of my.
I was being anti-Semitic, dude. I'm sorry.
No, you were being philo-Semitic.
Oh, philo-Semitic. What's
At the
philo?
same
Yeah,
time.
dude, which is also anti-Semitic. You know.
That's the problem.
I'm sitting there
sorry.
putting Seth Rogen on a pedestal. I shouldn't be. You know, I don't know that guy. I don't know
Well,
that guy.
Rogan. Seth Rogen? Are you kidding? That guy? I know that guy. Not a good Jew.
He's not a good Jew.
Seth Rogen?
He's not, or is he not a practicing Jew? Like, what do you mean by he's not a good Jew?
Oh, I wasn't even talking about his religiosity. The guy's. Have you what? Have you been reading his Twitter feed? He's lost his mind.
No, I don't. I'm not on Twitter like that. You know why? What
Yeah.
has he said? Sorry to
He's
derail the
very
conversation.
political.
Also sorry to derail the conversation.
Well, the topic is just chatting, and you're just totally taking us off the topic of just chatting.
Jacob, I have to jump in because
Yes.
there aren't just two types of Jews. There are
Good
good
Jews.
Jews, and there are bad Jews, and then there are us in betweeners.
Oh, okay. Yes, you are correct. Yes. Somebody's been going to Chabad too much.
I've been visiting every Chabad house in my town.
Very nice. It's an inside joke. It would take too long to. So, Chazi, as soon as I can see his comment there, but it hasn't come up here yet. Chazi says, Jacob is not practicing either. He's already perfected it.
Perfected the art, man.
Wait, so Jacob, what is Seth Rogen going on about?
He has trunk derangement syndrome. He's been saying a lot of stupid things, like a lot of people in Hollywood do. I mean,
Sure.
yeah,
Sure. Nice.
makes it really hard for me to like watch his movies and stuff and not be like, okay, get off my screen, you know?
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Komar, what do you want to talk about?
No, nothing. Please, sorry. No, I want to hear what you guys want to talk about. You know.
We were talking about the fact I just started a master's of social work, and Max
Nice.
already has a master's of social work. He is in fact an associate social worker. Is it associate? No, accredited. What is it?
You got it right. Associate.
Associate social worker, associate clinical social worker.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, dude. Do you work for like a government-funded body? Or are you in a private thing? I don't know how social work works too much.
So I've got two roles. I'm doing a school-based role a couple days a week, and then I started a role recently in forensic mental health, where I'm working with people on parole and probation, and who are awaiting trial.
Mm.
Well, you know what, man? I hope that you get more funding for all your work. You know, you go out there and make a difference. You know.
You know, Jacob, something
Yes.
my father says is that social workers should be paid $300,000 a year.
If they were, they would not be so crazy.
That's his idea behind it.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, like people who keep on talking about politicians should get pay cuts. It's like, I think the president of the United States should be paid $1 billion a year. Then we might actually get somebody who wants the job, who's actually capable of doing it, and not just a narcissistic, crazy, power-hungry, like, freak.
Is everyone here American?
Yes. We're actually all in California.
Oh wow.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely parts of California are awesome, for sure.
the parts none of us live in.
I am going to Huntington tomorrow.
Oh, the Huntington Library, it's my favorite place.
Have you guys ever been to an Erewhon?
To what?
An
Erewhon.
Erewhon what is that place? It's like fancy grocery store.
Yeah, it's a really expensive, fancy, organic. Yeah, I have no idea who this person is, but he's
Oh,
holding up a. No, there's somebody else trying to get in, and I don't think I'm gonna put him up. He's
Yeah.
holding a butthead. Whatchamacallit?
Doll. Yeah. Or
Yeah, yeah. I have no idea who this guy is, and I don't trust him.
Are you going to the library tomorrow, Richard?
No, it was Huntington Beach is one.
Oh, Huntington Beach?
Oh, Huntington Beach is
Is it
very
near-
different from the Huntington Library.
Oh, is the library near the beach? Do you know?
No, the library is actually in Pasadena.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Is it a
Uh,
nice beach? What? How warm is it where you are right now? Like, are you gonna go swimming?
Probably not. I'm probably just gonna end up. Well, tomorrow, I'm probably just gonna end up doing homework. Because the reason why I'm going is I'm at like my college has a big film school here, and my best friend is in it, and he needs he's filming a project out in Huntington, so he just needs some cars to drive some personnel out there, and I've been wanting to get out to the beach anyway, so I'm just gonna bring my books and study while they're filming.
What
What are you studying?
is beautiful. Huntington
Is
is
it?
absolutely beautiful. Yeah.
Okay. I'm double majoring in philosophy and psychology.
Oh, do you have like a favorite philosopher, like Immanuel Kant or something?
I have a friend whose favorite philosopher is Immanuel Kant. He's a very funny guy. No, I think if I had to pick a favorite, it'd probably be Plato. At least for now, because I've read a decent bit of Plato by this point and really enjoy reading him. He's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to read, and yeah, I'm interested in Platonic thought and just want to grow deeper in my understanding of it. So, yeah, Plato.
Are you ever wanting to like create your own philosophy one day, where everyone goes like, "Oh, the great thinker Richard," you know? You want to invent your own philosophy one day?
No, definitely not. I'm definitely a follower. I do want to be a professor, a philosophy professor.
No, Richard. No.
No, have we not had this conversation, Jacob? Have I
Uh,
not told you that I want to?
have I not told you that there's no way you should get a PhD in philosophy in the hopes of becoming a professor? Like, that is one of the worst ideas. Ever.
Because of the job market, or
Yes.
well, that's why I'm double majoring, Jacob. It's a bit of a pipe dream, but
You know what you got to do, Richard? You got to like find like a real famous guy like Zac Efron and become Zac Efron's spiritual advisor and just hit him with like philosophy stuff and just be like, yeah, man, and he'll take you around the world and you'll be like, I don't know, Richard, what do I do? And then you hit him with some philosophy and he's like, thanks. And then he just gives you a bunch of money. Just trick some rich actor, some dumb rich actor into thinking, they need you to give them, be their spiritual advisor.
Well, that reminds me, Jonah Hill made a movie recently about him and his therapist.
Okay.
Interesting.
Who's Jonah
Yes,
Hill?
Stutz, right?
The actor Jonah Hill.
No idea.
Yeah, we'll see, Jacob. We'll see. That's why I had the psychology major. I'm gonna get a master's and go down that route first and see what I can do on the academic philosophy end. So I really do love the field, and
Yeah, but lots of people love the field, Richard, and like, frankly, if you don't graduate from one of the Ivy Leagues, you can pretty much forget it.
I mean, one of my professors is like a protege of Alvin Plantinga. So like,
Okay, so
the
that's
department here is good, and the placement is really good.
Well, yeah, okay. So you're in a very particular. So you wouldn't. I mean, so you're talking about philosophy at an evangelical Christian school, like that's a possibility. And Chezi wants to point out that. What about your grades, Richard?
I've done the math. I can get up to it. Well, I might be able to get higher than a 3.8. I need to redo the math, but the grades can be fixed.
They better be.
They will be. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I'm not worrying too much about it. I think it'll be if I put in the work hereafter, I'll be fine. But yeah, I'm totally open to wherever God leads me. I want to do that, but I am up for anything. So I will go where He leads me.
Oh, I know who Jonah Hill is.
I actually don't know who Jonah Hill is. What is he?
He's one of these comic Jewish actors that are way too Jewish and way too comic. It's like become a trope. It's become a trope. Like we're trying to be Seinfeld and failing.
I have seen 21 Jump Street, so I do know him. Yeah. What about my grades? That just hurts my soul.
We're trying to make sure you don't repeat what you did last semester, Richard.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So, Komar, tell us something about yourself.
I'm Canadian.
Oh, wow. You're from the People's Republic of Kazakhstan.
Yes. I'm up here, up in the north.
How far north? Are you within 50 miles of the U.S. border?
No, I'm more north than that. I just moved to the southern part of my province, but I used to be like at the most like northern part of my province.
But you don't say a and a boot and like you don't sound all Canadian a.
You know, this is so funny because I always thought that I sounded like very American. I think just from watching like American television growing up and stuff. Then I went to New Zealand and I was there with an American guy and there was like the New Zealanders and I was just like, do we sound different? And they were like, 100% you sound different, which I thought was crazy.
Yeah, I would not have guessed. But like sometimes I'm listening to a Canadian and then suddenly they say a boot and I'm like, wow.
No, a big one will just be like, here, ask me if I'm going to be, Richard, ask me if I'm going to be at the beach tomorrow. I'll respond how a Canadian responds.
Are you going to be at the beach tomorrow?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah,
that's like a Canadian response. Yeah, no, for sure.
Sure. Yeah, the information is wrong. It's there.
So I discovered something when I visited Canada.
Where'd you
go? Toronto.
Okay.
And I've been to Vancouver. I have family up in Vancouver. But this was when I was in Toronto, and there were people from the East Coast of the United States and West Coast of the United States, and from Canada there. And all three of us had different definitions of what a double-double is.
Oh, two cream, two sugar.
That's what it is in Canada.
What the fuck is it in America?
in the Western United States, a double double is a hamburger from In-N-Out with two patties and two
Right.
cheese.
Yeah.
And a double double on the East Coast is a pizza with double pepperoni, double cheese.
Whoa, that's crazy to me.
Okay.
Yep.
What was it in Canada? Is it ice cream?
No,
So,
it's
what is-
it's coffee at Will Hortons. Is it?
Oh yeah, it's
Uh,
coffee. Yeah, so yeah, it's
Tim
coffee
Hortons.
at Tim Hortons, but we also say it at
Hortons.
other coffee places like McDonald's, this, that. You say a double double, and they'll give you a coffee, or you could say like a tea double double, and they'll give you 2 milk, 2 cream.
got
Or
it.
sorry, two cream, 2 sugar.
Yeah, 2 cream, 2 sugar. Yeah, that's a double double. Yeah, Tim Hortons. We also don't have Tim Hortons down here. So
That's so funny. We when I was in orchestra in high school, we did a retreat. Not a retreat. We played in Vancouver, and like one of the big selling points is like we get to go to Tim Hortons.
Oh yeah, dude, Tim Hortons iced cappuccino, an ice cap. That's a good one. That's a good go-to thing at Tim Hortons. And like how you said before, Jacob, where you said, you went to Toronto, Canadians say Toronto.
Toronto. Okay.
Yeah, we say Toronto, but like no, every so often, probably in official forum, you'll hear people be like, "In the city of Toronto, Toronto," but Canadians just say Toronto, Toronto.
The weird thing is there's a city of Ontario not so far from where Richard is in Los Angeles,
Oh yeah.
near Los Angeles. And so when people say Ontario Airport, like I always first think, oh, are they going to Canada? What was I gonna say? Vancouver is beautiful though. Oh my god, Vancouver.
Canada's really beautiful all over. You just gotta we have lots of nature, like cool stuff like that. But Vancouver is super cool too.
Yeah. It's just so big. Like
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge.
Yeah, everything's so far apart. Like my big destination I want to go to is Jasper National Park.
Yeah, Jasper's cool.
Yeah, beautiful. Mostly because my it's not my dog, but my friend's dog, who I pretend I own, is named after Jasper. National.
Listen, if there's a dog in front of me, I'm gonna be loving that dog. I'm gonna just pretend it's my own. I'm gonna be kissing it, saying it's a good boy, it's a good girl, it's a good puppy, who's a good puppy. I'll be doing that.
Let me show you how obsessed I am with this dog. Okay, here he is.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. My friend's sister is a graphic designer. She sells those. It's also my YouTube icon as well.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah.
Why do you love this dog so much? Do you have a dog on your own, or have you ever had a dog?
So that's part of it. Is my mom never let me have a dog. I always wanted a dog, and so when I hit high school, I met these friends of mine. And like the minute I saw this dog, it's like the cutest thing in the world.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
Max Friedman, do you since you're in social work, do you ever do like land acknowledgements and stuff?
Hasn't come up yet.
Oh, you guys never do land acknowledgements? Does anyone, or Richard at your college, do you guys ever do a land acknowledgement?
Not in California.
No. Although, so I am so I did some voice acting work a couple months ago because a friend of mine is an artist and she has wherever you find podcasts, and we did a live filming in Washington State, and she did a land acknowledgement, at our live reading.
That's sick. That's awesome. I love that.
So I don't know why today's been a Twitch heavy day and just chatting, but like this is like the most Twitch engagement I've had in like 2 years.
How many viewers do you have right now?
Not many. 2 on YouTube, but 3 on Twitch. I
It says
usually
4 right
have
now.
1 or 2.
So yeah,
Well,
I'll make it 5.
So StreamYard is telling me there's 5 total, 3 on Twitch, but what do I know? Yeah, my Twitch is saying that it's
Max, you gotta start doing those land acknowledgments and stuff. Or Richard, you gotta start getting the college to do land acknowledgments, man.
It's different down here, bro. It's
Yeah.
different.
Just say they gotta respect the indigenous people, man.
No. If Richard's college starts doing that, there will be riots.
Well, there was some comeuppance about a chapel we did for Martin Luther King. And then also, like, in this past week, in what focusing on who's the African American kid who got beaten recently in
Oh, Tyree Nichols or something.
yeah. So they've actually like mentioned him by name, and like we've been like praying for his family and like practicing lament for it. Which like I mean, I should probably look into the details of the story because I just stopped watching the news like 2 months ago, so I have no idea what it's about. But
Yeah, nor do I.
I was definitely surprised to see such a politically charged issue be raised. So, yeah. But yeah, my college is generally pretty conservative, although there definitely are some liberal aspects.
Leave that alone.
We have in my dorm there's like posters everywhere of like significant African American figures.
So your college is going all CRT and woke. How dare you, Richard?
It's going. It's going.
That's crazy to me that people are like anti CRT and stuff. Like,
Oh,
that's
I
just
am
crazy.
very anti-CRT. Are you joking? It's Marxism. What are you talking about?
Is it?
It is. Yes, I will. I have James Lindsay's books all over the place. I am very against critical race theory. It is
It's
just racism.
Oh, really? I don't know too much about it. It's just from bits and pieces here and there that I've heard. Just seems like it's just trying to like do awareness or something, right?
Well, that's the thing. They're Gnostics, and they're like, oh, if you become aware, like it's their religion. It really is their religion. Like they have this idea of if you're aware of your privilege, and it's really a lot like if you believe in Jesus, then you'll like be saved. It's completely religious. It is completely a secular version of religion for people who don't have like racism has become their religion, and the horrible part of it is that in the name of anti-racism, they're very, very racist. I mean, the stuff that before you got on, we were talking about Chris Rufo. Chris Rufo, the stuff he's been reporting, it's just been Like there are scholarships where for everyone who's not white, it's like scholarship for not white people. It's like, excuse me, you can't do that. That's not how the world works. We don't allow racial categories like that because we're not racists, and you can't be anti-racist by being racist. Which Ibram Kendi, who's one of the big CRT people, he says the solution to past racism is current racism, and it's like, no, that is not the solution. And in fact, the Supreme Court, I am very, very hopeful that the Supreme Court decision, I'm not sure when it will come out. They might wait until June to come out with the new decision. But I'm very hopeful it's going to make all affirmative action illegal.
Okay.
Not what you were expecting.
No, I'm just Canadian, so it's like it does. It doesn't necessarily. That's the one thing. When you're Canadian, I'm just like, this is just the. It's like, what am I supposed to say? It's like American stuff. It's just.
So
like,
you don't listen to Jordan Peterson?
I know of him. Yeah. I know of him. He's very popular.
I'm a huge fan. I have his books here. When he comes to Los Angeles, actually, Richard and I went and saw him.
Yeah.
He's doing a show near where I live, and it's like sold out.
Oh.
If it
Do you
wasn't
like
sold
Sam
out,
Harris?
I'll tell you to go.
Do you like Sam Harris?
No. Sam Harris, he has severe Trump derangement syndrome. He's lost his mind, which I kind of feel bad about because a good friend of mine is a good friend of his, and it's like, yeah, I feel bad speaking harshly about her good friend. But
Don't worry. His parents made the goal. One of his parents made the Golden Girls or something. It was where Sam Harris is doing good. Sam Harris was sitting on M's. You know what I mean? Sam Harris was doing really well for himself.
Yes, I know. Yes.
Which I love the Golden Girls, so yeah, I'm not gonna say anything bad about it.
Yeah, his mother and
Like
stepfather, yeah, were still are very big in the entertainment industry. That's why in Los Angeles, like, so many people know.
Why do you think there's a lot of Jordan Peterson hate? I don't know too much about him, but I know a lot of people make fun of him online.
Well, it's the CRT stuff. So the mainstream media and mainstream culture, and like they don't like what he has to say. And frankly, I think do you listen to Joe Rogan at all?
A long time ago, I haven't listened to a Joe Rogan episode in forever. Maybe sometimes if there's like a guest I like or something, but definitely like 10 years ago-ish, I loved all those old episodes.
May I ask how old you are?
I'm 30.
30, okay. Yeah, I only listen to Joe Rogan when it's a guest I want to hear. Jordan Peterson was on there recently. And Happy, my dog was having a nightmare. Yeah, so I think Joe Rogan is cutting through a lot of the mainstream media bullshit, but we hear a lot of mainstream media bullshit. I was actually today listening to Michael Malice on Jimmy Dore. I don't know if you guys know who either of those guys are.
I know who they are, yeah.
Who's Jimmy Dore? I know Michael Malice, but not Dore.
So Jimmy Dore is this very far left-wing comedian who he is so far left-wing, he thinks all the crazy CRT stuff is crazy. So now everybody calls him right-wing. And he's like, okay, if you want to call me right-wing, you can call me right-wing. I don't care. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Jimmy Dore. Chazi's also international. As you
Hello.
can tell from the fact the sun is shining on him and not the rest of us.
That is true, both metaphorically and literally. Um, Max, I don't think we've ever chatted before.
Yeah, not so much. I just sent you a message on Discord saying hey, but yeah, this
Did
is the
you?
first we've spoken.
Oh, back in the day.
Months ago, yeah, when he first popped
Yes.
up.
So first of all, how are you doing, sir?
I'm well, Baruch Hashem.
Very nice. You had a good day?
Yeah, I just worked a 10-hour shift, and then I thought I'd actually take Jacob up on his offer to join a live stream for once.
Very nice. I'm glad you're here, and I hope the shift went well. What do you do?
I'm a social worker.
Oh, so this conversation was very relevant to you, I guess. They were bashing. Wasn't Richard say that you need like a significant raise? I'm assuming you concur.
Yes, I specifically need a significant raise. Thanks,
I see.
Richard.
Very nice. Very nice. By the way, Jacob, I don't think we've ever spoken about politics, but yeah, CRT is not great. I don't spend my time, but I go from listening from, let's say, Young Turks, Kyle Kalinske, David Pakman, Ben Shapiro, Breaking Points, and then you got to sift through that and see who's talking nonsense.
All of them are. You picked a straight like lineup. David Pakman may be the most dishonest single human being to ever
I know.
live.
You got to know what the enemy's thinking, though. You know what I mean?
Well, no. See, the problem with David Pakman is he is just deceptive and a liar, and so like listening to him, especially if you're not aware of his tricks, and it's very hard to know his tricks because he is incredibly good at propaganda. David Pakman. So Jordan Peterson had this platform, ThinkSpot, and I was a moderator on it for a little while. And David Pakman was one of the creators that came on. And among the moderators, there were people who were like, "No, we should. Why are we allowing him on?" And I'm like, "No, this is what free speech is about. If we can actually, as moderators, expose him every lie that he tells, then that's the response, not censoring him." Guess what? When David Pakman decided that this platform seems a little hostile and I'm just going to get off of it, we all high-fived each other.
Yeah, unfortunately, like considering the fact legacy media is, on its deathbed or on its way towards its deathbed. David Pakman and TOAT and Kyle Kalinske, for example, are very prominent shows on the left, and it doesn't seem like people on the right want to engage them. Having said that,
the problem is that those guys are faux mainstream. They are mainstream media pretending to be on the left. If you want real left, listen to Jimmy Dore, Glenn Greenwald. Those are actual people on the left.
So I listened to Jimmy Dore as well, and Glenn Greenwald from The Intercept. I mean,
he's not from The Intercept anymore. The Intercept was bought by the Democratic Party.
Hey Jacob, do you or is it Chizo Hezo? Hezi, sorry.
It's easier.
Hezi. Do you know like the H3 podcast with Ethan Klein?
Yeah, Bad News Bad.
What do you tell me what you guys think of the H3 podcast with Ethan Klein?
I'm not a fan of him. I'm not a fan of him or his wife. I think he lost his mind. I also don't think they're particularly funny. But I give all these people their day in the sun, listening to them, seeing if they're sign coherent. I personally don't see myself. I mean, I'm a religious person, so there's definitely a conservative bent. But on policy wise, I would see myself as quite progressive, actually. But yeah, Ethan Klein. it's not even interesting ranting. It's just I don't know, it just talks like a lot of nonsense. And then there's just like on a personal level, just the way they interact, their cadence, the way they talk is just very like annoying. Like I just don't enjoy the podcast just on a.
And his wife is Israeli, and Chezi really dislikes Israelis.
No,
What do you think, Jacob? I saw you laugh when I brought up H3. And
Yeah, no, he client has lost his mind and is proof of what I keep on trying to explain to Chezi, but he doesn't believe me, which is there are people who will make you dumber for having listened to them.
Yes, I don't know if I'm listening to them every single day, but I hear what you're saying that some of these people, I would say I don't listen to H3 anymore. Or
Do
like a
not
podcast.
listen to David Pakman unless you have time to actually sit through and understand how he is lying and manipulating you.
Do you think H3 is like lying and manipulating?
Not
Yes.
like Pakman.
No.
but I think nonsense. But definitely when they talk about, I mean, when Ethan starts talking about politics, I think he's out of his comfort zone. So like David Pakman might be lying. At least he knows what he's lying about. He's not a fool, which makes him in theory more dangerous.
So you like H3?
Yeah, I do. I like the. I think he's funny. I like the show. I have these H3 cards that I bought.
Okay.
I like him. I think he's funny.
His conversation with Jordan from way back.
Way back before he lost his mind. Yeah. So Grizz asked about Russell Brand and Rumble. Yeah, Russell Brand I would definitely say is one of the good guys and on the left. And yeah, Rumble, I mean, I hope Rumble will do better, but it's hard to use. I go on there, it's just like the Daily Wire platform. I just don't like it. And so
Yeah, Rumble's interface kind of sucks.
And streaming to it, I tried streaming to it for a while. It's just too hard.
Do you think that's like part of the point?
What do you mean?
Like, you think the designers want it?
No. This is
No,
not
they
deliberate.
just- Yeah, no, they just aren't. They aren't there yet. You know.
Yeah.
I'd say.
That's
Well,
funny, Jacob. I'd say he's LARPing a good guy because people need a hero. You mean Russell Brand? I don't think Russell Brand is LARPing.
I love the Russell Brand videos. I've always seen him on YouTube where he's like does his like meditation moments with people. He's like you could do follow along, and some of his like breathing exercises are so funny to like listen to.
I have not. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he does. I don't know if he still does them, but he used to do them. You could like do a meditation practice with him or something, and he'd be like, like it's really funny.
Jacob, have you seen Michael Satori's meditation videos?
No, are you kidding? I have to check these out. Michael Sartori is making meditation videos.
No, I don't know whether they're on. No, they must be on his channel. But the reason why I know about them is he did a Just Chatting stream once, and he was like, "While I wait, I'm going to lead you in meditation on Paul Vanderpump." And he started up a video, and it was like this psychedelic, like edited patchwork of like rainbow Paul Vanderpump of like inverting in different shapes, and like it was amazing. It was.
I don't know why I have not been watching enough of Michael Sartori lately. It hasn't been coming up on my subscriptions.
Yeah.
Which I gotta watch this. 25 minutes.
That was
insane.
quite. That was quite a while ago. Let me see if I can dig it up from. What?
Okay. I have to give it a thumbs up just because it's Michael, but yeah.
Very
Okay,
interesting.
I can't believe I missed this.
Yeah, I don't even know if you posted it, but you showed it. Oh, I could probably find it on your channel actually if I went back far enough. Here, let me find it.
Hey, Jacob, Richard, Max, it was fun. I'm probably going to head out. I just wanted to stop by and chat for a while. Really loved hearing everything you guys had to say. It was great chatting with you all.
Cool.
Hey, you
Come
too.
back anytime.
And yeah, for sure, I will. I'll give you a follow on Twitch.
Cool.
Alright, see you later.
Wow, I'll have like 2 followers on Twitch.
All right. Bye, everybody. Bye.
See ya.
Teo! We're really getting international. Okay, so Max,
We were saying.
you were saying about social work. What were you saying?
I don't know. Ask me a question.
So, what do you think is? Well, first of all, I have to ask, like, how is the supervision and gaining hours thing coming along?
It's going fine so far. Let's see. I've enjoyed this new job that I've taken in the forensic social work, but like I work with people with all different degrees. Like once you're out of school, it doesn't seem to matter so much because there's such a need for people to work in this field that they'll take people with whatever credential and put them in the same role, even though the training is different. Like I'm working with many people who are earning their doctorate in clinical psychology with an emphasis in forensic psychology. So they're like hardcore studying this stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I just came in like not even really knowing that this was a job.
Well, this is the thing with social work. Like it's obviously like this is the critical justice. This is the CRT being able to manipulate our system, and like you can become an LCSW. You can get an MSW in 5 years total if you get a bachelor's of social work, and you can get a master's of social work in 1 year, right? So you can become a therapist in 5 years total, which is far, far quicker than anything even close to comparable, right? But it's because the social justice warriors own the education complex.
Some thoughts on this. So in Israel, they're trying to change some of the regulations right now to be able to have more people accredited, like in social work or in these therapy fields, like just like Max is saying, because there's like a dire need for people in the industry. However, this is causing like already tension, like in my own family. So my wife is studied art therapy. She studied couples therapy and family therapy. And my dad has a double PhD in social work, and he has a double PhD in psychology. And he worked he was like a king in his own field, and like a master in his own field. But like my sister-in-law now is like, I'm a couples therapist, and like there's like these couples that are going to meeting her, and she like when she meets, she's like sitting in family reunions. She's like, they're loving it. It's going amazing. I'm helping people, and I do think that's amazing that she's helping people, but I could see that like my dad and my wife are like didn't we study for like 700 years to like to get to the same position now that like you're coming and saying, so it's difficult. Having said that, I don't know if everyone needs like the couple that's fighting or the kids that's having some issues. I don't know if everyone needs like the master psychologist necessarily, and it could be that my sister-in-law's advice is sort of good enough in some sense. And you're speaking to someone who studied law, but went to work in the architecture field, has a successful architecture and design company, and I've never studied architecture. So, like, I don't know if I should be like, the one, getting angry about this, but we are in a pickle because there is a demand. People need a lot more help, and I don't know necessarily if we need as many years of training for most of the people. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. But the reason there is the demand is one, because it doesn't matter if you get a PhD in psychology. You can spend like 9 years and get a PhD in psychology. That still doesn't mean you're going to be a good therapist, because it's not a
Agreed.
skill that's easily taught. And so, and part of the problem is, guess what? At 45, I don't care how many years Max goes to school. He just doesn't have the life experience that I do, and it's just completely different, right? And
Yes.
the 9 years of a PhD was partially just so they're not a 25-year-old therapist.
There is something too,
Okay,
and
Max.
obviously this is more with regards to, let's say, obviously there's experience. That's number one, right? But which obviously is extremely important. But this is something that I discuss with my wife, and maybe I'm like, this is more like I don't know if the field necessarily articulates itself this way, but if I'm a parent and I have an issue with like one of my childs, or I need some sort of assistance, I do want to know that someone has read some literature, knows some stats, knows what these things mean, where, like, sort of to work around that. Now
So
there is like a natural. Sorry, go ahead, Jacob.
That's the second problem, which is the fact is that right now we know scientifically that what a lot of people are passing off as psychological care is actually psychogenic. Like it causes mental illness, and you're not seeing Richard and Max nodding, but Richard is a psychology major and Max is the thing, and it's. And Jordan Peterson talks about this, and Jonathan Haidt, like, he was the keynote speaker at the American Psychological Association in 2016. He wrote a book saying that we're causing mental illness by imposing cognitive distortions on our children, and nobody paid attention to him. So, like, part of the problem is actually the politicization of psychology. Psychology is a nascent science, and it's really, really unfortunate that it's been completely politicized to the point where a lot of I actually believe that a lot of the things that I'm being taught now, this is only my first class, but I can see where it's going, cause more mental illness than they heal. And I know somebody who's a licensed clinical social worker who's incredibly depressed and like won't go see a doctor because she thinks she knows it all, because she kind of does, except she doesn't, because what she's been taught is cognitive distortions that cause mental illness. And there's a reason, like when I was an undergrad, one thing that was known at USC was that the people at the School of Social Work were crazy. That was just known. I worked with somebody who was getting a doctorate of social work, and she was crazy, and everybody in the class, everybody who worked with her was like, but she's in the social work program, they're all crazy, right? It's because the education causes mental illness.
Max, what do you think about all this?
I don't know. There was a lot that came up there, but like, I have mentors with different credentials, and they all kind of told me the same thing, which is just get through school and get a degree and get your license so you can practice. And lots of people are taking that approach, and they're going into these programs with whatever worldview and theoretical orientation they have, and are just continuing in that vein.
Do you feel that? Do you feel when you look out there that do you feel like there's more pain, more anguish than before? Do you feel like the fact that we have all these institutions and we have all these structures of social work and care that 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 people are getting assistance, or do you feel like ultimately this is like we're not in a good state?
To answer that question, I would want to go upstream further than the programs themselves. It's like we're in this mental health
Okay.
crisis. So the question is,
Okay,
where is this coming from?
but so are we in a crisis though? Because you could arguably say now, you know, you have so many more people that are aware. I mean, like there's no stigma on therapy, and everyone likes to be like, the people like saying or being very proud about the fact that they're either neurotic or they're OCD or like it's a cool thing to have. So there's that. There's you could be like that's like a social contagion sort of thing that people want to be talking about. On the other hand, I think these things are sort of not under. People aren't hiding this anymore. If like there's a kid that's stressed at home, his dad's like now like, oh, he's a spaz, and like I guess we don't know what to do with him. Like people are more open to therapy, so you would think that there would be more of an understanding.
I had a kid this summer. He was 8. He was explaining to me how he had OCD and like what medications he was taking and how he was coping with it. Like how widespread this has become is pretty insane, and who knows what effect this language is having on our experience.
Mental illness is socially contagious. Why is this not commonly known?
Well, I think
think
that's a broad question about why are things not commonly known. There's a lot of things, unfortunately, that are not.
Well, no, but the American Psychological Association has completely lost its mind.
Do you agree with that, Max?
I don't know if I keep my finger on the pulse of the American Psychological Association.
Well, I would just say the mental health field in general.
I don't know. Like I'm working in jobs that seem comfortable in places where I can learn to do this work that I find credible, and then I'm aiming my intention for my practice at those approaches and technologies that are working best to help people in this field. So like I'm focused on what seems the most valuable, and it's like kind of hard for me to get a picture of what other people are doing because the bad examples stand out.
If you don't mind, I have one more question. While you're doing this, while you're dealing with your clients and your patients, do you feel at this point, like you said, I came back from a 10-hour shift. Do you feel like I could do this for another 40 years? I could do this for another 30 years. Or you feel like, I don't know if 2 years into this, like this is like already feels like, ugh.
Yeah. I mean, so far so good. I have a vision where I imagine I'll have my private practice some days a week, and maybe I'll maintain a job other days a week for variety, or maybe I'll just focus on the practice. Like I've done other work before, and this appeals to me more than other work I've done. And it's not
like
for
more
everyone.
meaningful.
Yeah, it's not for everyone, and it takes a lot out of me. But yeah, it's not like there's something else that's more appealing to me to do.
I mean, I think it's like a lot more important work than what I'm doing. Like as far as like architecture and design, and I mean like that this is true also about nurses and judges. Like that's that's on the ground, immediate results. Like, well, not if I mean, but like there's contact over there. So I just think it's extremely meaningful work. And as a citizen of the world, I just want to say thank you for taking that on, because like we don't have like there aren't not everyone is suited for this job, and not everyone that is like and the people that might be have the temperament for this job don't necessarily want to do it due to monetary reasons or other reasons that they have. So I think it's a big responsibility to take on. So thank you.
Appreciate that.
I appreciate that. Jacob and Richard, you could also, if you wanted to, but my dad has written a lot about psychology and religion. That's like really what he was focusing on.
Yeah.
So if you guys ever want to take a look, but it's pretty dense stuff.
What-
I wish he would just sort of like dumb things down a little.
What's his name?
His name is Moshe
Okay. Yeah.
Spiro, or Moshe Halevi Spiro. He's also a proud Levite. He got some over the, I think in the 80s he also came out with it was like a whole discussion, a whole article about homosexuality and religion, which I've spoken to him about over the years. I think he's probably progressed a little more since, but I think at the time it was still relatively open-minded and progressive, but he got some pushback on it from some of the community in Israel back in the day, but I don't know if that's still relevant anymore.
Okay.
But yeah, I thought you guys might think it's interesting. I'll jump back on, but I'm running to get some shopping for my Shabbat day. It's in the air, guys. You feel it? The Shabbos Queen is here.
Shabbat shalom.
I'll be back soon.
Right. Bye.
Rabbi Mullet is watching us from Houston.
Oh. Is Malot was the one you talked to semi-recently, right after Dion?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. He's an actual rabbi.
Yeah. Did you see the private chat, Jacob?
Yeah, I took care of it.
Okay, cool.
And you were absolutely right, because afterwards, the messages got even weirder.
Right, because they're still in the
Yeah, the old ones are,
Yeah.
but like, yeah.
It makes sense that they will be, and then, like whenever you leave Twitch, like the chat disappears, so I can't like go back and look at them.
Yeah.
But also, I found the meditation video. So that's what.
Aha. So you want to share it?
It's in the private chat.
That I didn't see. Okay.
And yes, start like 4.
So, at what time?
Start at 4.
Set it at 4.
Yeah, 4 minutes.
Yeah, let's have some meditation time. So I'm gonna add something to help with that.
Whose channel is it on? Oh, it's his.
Like Matrix Room. We're
What?
just in this existential
Okay.
sensory deprivation tank. I'm gonna meditate while I'm driving down the freeway. Daddy, the house is on fire. No, not for me. Daddy, the house is on fire. Psychedelics. What is the house? All is one. Well, what do you see in front of you? I see a green frog. You see arms, and a whole well of things just came up inside of you because you were raised with this little fellow. Did you see his little eyes? Did you see his little eyes? Well, what do you see in front of you? I see wrinkles. You see arms, and a whole well of things just came up inside of you because you were raised with this little fellow. Did you see his little eyes? Did you see his little eyes? Did you see his little eyes?
So Michael thinks meditation and Satanism are the same thing. Is that what I'm getting?
I had no idea, bro. I don't know. There was very interestingly, we have there's an institution here called the Viola Cantoring Center, and I don't know what their exact relationship to Viola actually is, but they have a workshop going on Christian mindfulness and meditation, which I really wanted to take out of curiosity for what they were going to say, but it's during a class. But yeah, I wonder because like I was thinking, I saw a group doing yoga on one of the main lines today, I think. And every time I think of yoga, I think of when Peugeot simply said, I probably wouldn't do yoga. Which I thought was a really interesting comment. Because he talked about its role. What am I watching? He talked about its role in Hindu spirituality and all of that. And I just never heard such a conservative take from someone who I thought was pretty sane. So, yeah. I don't know.
Bro, and I have to say, Grizz, the only reason I'm wearing a beanie is it's cold here.
Ditto.
You were watching Michael Sartori making fun of meditation and Paul Vanderbilt. That's what you were watching.
And some amazing editing as well.
Can you believe Chad does all of his editing on his phone?
Bro, I need to watch chat. I don't watch chat. Like I lost my AirPods recently. But I don't. I usually like listen to stuff walking between classes, and now I just like don't have time to watch anything. But I do need to watch Karen because I have no idea what he's up to.
Honestly, like, there's so much I should be watching, and then it's like, well, do I watch stuff, or do I do a just chatting stream, or do I actually do productive things with my life? Like,
yeah, like my big addiction right now is keeping up with competitive Pokemon.
Competitive Pokemon?
Yeah.
Come on, at least go up to MTG. Pokemon.
Oh come on, the Pokemon TCG is it's not as complicated as Magic for sure, and I don't know like how big they are comparatively. Pokemon is getting pretty big. It has like 1,000+ person tournaments, like pretty regularly at this point. At least
How large tournaments?
1,000+.
1,000? Okay, so when Wizards flew me out to Paris for Grand Prix Paris, there were 5,000 people who participated.
Okay, so I had no idea scale-wise. It's definitely like growing, like because it was a big deal when like a month ago they broke 1,000.
Yeah, I think Grand Prix Las Vegas broke 10,000.
Okay, that's pretty
Yeah.
You guys are
Yeah.
losing me on this topic.
good.
Don't you love my artwork? this is the first time I've actually displayed it.
I guess I get my I have my question.
Chazi, if you haven't watched the Rebbe's speech on kosher meditation, you really should. It's on YouTube. It's really, really good. You would really like it. Yeah, this is an uncut sheet that Wizards of the Coast gave to me. You can only get uncut sheets directly from
Wait.
Wizards of the Coast.
So how well I don't want to lose Max, so I'll ask you about magic for you. Wait, so like what and Rabbi Mo just spoke to this, but like what is meditation in an Abrahamic brain? Like I just don't even know how to conceptualize that.
So the Rebbe's speech, which Rabbi Mullet, I actually recommend. Why don't I actually pull it up? I don't think Jem will give me a copyright strike.
Okay. Interesting.
There we go. And I guess I'll turn the sound down and actually read the English over it because he's speaking in Yiddish. But
The 1960s and 70s saw an explosion of spiritual movements and religious cults. Hundreds of thousands
Oh,
of
you
young
guys
men
aren't
and
listening
women
to this, are
searching
you?
for meaning, a disproportionate number of them Jews, were unassumingly lured into idolatrous groups. Here the Rebbe addresses one of the popular trends of the time. Assuming sincerity on the part of the young seekers, the Rebbe finds the positive spark in a potentially harmful spiritual practice and offers a healthy alternative.
regarding everything in life, the verse says, "Behold, I have set before you life and good," and the verse mentions the opposite choice as well. Concerning idol worship, for example, the Talmud states, should God destroy his world just because of fools? The idolaters who worship the sun, moon, and stars? Because the forces of nature are positive and beneficial, some people worship them as divine powers, thereby expressing rebellion against God, the King of Kings. And when the Talmud asks, why do the sun and moon exist, if they have become objects of idolatry, the response is, should God destroy his world just because of fools, as the Talmud answers in Tractate Avodah Zarah. The same principle applies to an idolatrous practice that has become a recent involving incense rituals, self-effacement, and prostration before an idol, and prostration before men of flesh and blood. This new plague, not even listed in the Torah, has spread in this country and in others. And even in the Holy Land, it has been given a sophisticated name, meditation or transcendental meditation, meaning surpassing the intellect and beyond limitations. It is combined with incense rituals and other practices that are literally forms of idolatry, or that border on idolatry. In the redoubled darkness of exile, most people don't appreciate just how many Jewish young men and women, and adults too, have been caught in this trap. Young people who were experiencing inner turmoil or whose friends were in turmoil have fallen into cults. And there they found peace of mind, emotional tranquility, and general improved mental health. They attribute this to the incense, the relaxation methods, the seclusion, prostration to the guru, and the like. These people are in need of healing. The nature of their ailment is such, God forbid, that before all else, their nerves must be calmed, and their psyches must be calmed. And their healing can only be attained through which today has become known as meditation. This is similar to the sun and moon, which are not evil. God forbid to say that this healing requires idolatrous practices. That this is about healing, as has already been seen, those who have implemented kosher meditation therapies, without incense, without idols, without any form of idol worship whatsoever, have been successful. Two conditions, however. Firstly, such therapy is only for an unhealthy person, not for a healthy, functioning person who is living an active, productive life. Included among those who are unhealthy are those people who have persuaded themselves that they cannot function without meditation. This itself is an ailment. Secondly, one must ensure that the meditation practitioner is qualified to determine that which is allowed by Jewish law from that which is idolatrous. He must also be an expert from the medical standpoint to prescribe the meditation in correct measure, no more, no less. For just like any other form of medication, as discussed in the works of Jewish ethics and Hasidus, medicine is harmful to a healthy person. And this should not be mixed with other issues. There are those who wish to achieve additional benefit by offering Kabbalah meditations. Meditation on Kabbalah and Torah's inner teachings is certainly worthy and commendable. But here we're talking about fellow Jews who have stumbled into a form of idolatry. So first and foremost, they must be rescued from that predicament. If one is to stipulate additional conditions requiring them to agree that the object of meditation will be the mystical teachings of Torah, it is almost certain that the vast majority will not be receptive. The bottom line, those doctors who treat psychological disorders or emotional disorders and the like, whether they are called physicians or psychoanalysts or social workers, or some other title, they have a sacred obligation to begin to consider this matter and to supplement their knowledge how to utilize the therapeutic benefits of meditation. And without a doubt, when a kosher meditation method is properly publicized, it will immediately rescue those standing at the crossroads Today, there is no such thing. As a Jew who rebels for the sake of rebellion, today it is only to try to fill an inner hunger. So if he has two options, one kosher, the other not, he will at least try the kosher option first. And when he sees that it works, others will follow as well. Even those who have already fallen into the net will be saved as well. So Chazi, you were shaking your head. You chutzpaniak. You're muted.
I was shaking my head because he's saying meditate. They call it meditation. They call it this. They call it that. And then he's saying Jewish meditation. So you do recognize the meditation. It exists in Judaism. It's a very powerful tool. Don't do idol worship. You're like, okay,
That's what
great.
he said.
So, but it starts off as saying like, this meditation, what people are doing, like, he says holy sparks, but the framing should be, these are technologies that have existed in the world. These are people that are trying to orient themselves towards God. They are doing it improperly.
He say? That's exactly what he said. That is
I know,
exactly what he said.
But the tone of like it's idol worship, at the same time, we in this
warning of the idol worship and saying you have to separate the idol worship. You have to separate the good from the bad. Chazi, yes, you have. Avodat habirurim requires separating good from bad.
I'm with you. I just think, and maybe, and to his credit, this is a while.
This 50, 60 years ago.
So I just said, for his credit, this is 50, 60 years ago. Today, if a rabbi was talking, it should be, I would have a lot more, it could be the same premise. It just needs to be a lot more holistic. I would come in being like a lot less negative towards, like I would even start with saying potentially the roots of this meditation could potentially stem from our tradition. Okay.
Well,
and it's going.
So you didn't listen to what he was saying towards the end, which was the people who are trying to mix in Kabbalah and make it on Razei Torah and stuff like that need to cool their jets and allow people to receive the benefits of just meditation without necessarily making it all like advanced Jewish stuff, so that people can go to doctors and can learn about meditation without going to gurus.
Yeah, but you don't have to have a mental health issue to want to meditate, though. You don't have to have.
You're not listening. You're not listening. The Rebbe is quite clearly saying, okay, so you have Kabbalah and Razei Torah, and that is a form of meditation, and of course that is what it is, and it's beautiful. And then you have people who are going to transcendental meditation because they have psychological problems. They're sick, and they're receiving it through Avodah Zarah. And so the way to do it is to actually offer them that which is the sparks within the transcendental meditation to those sick people without requiring them to become Kabbalists. Good night, Rabbi Mullet.
I hear what you're saying.
Okay. Thank you. Like, take yes for an answer, Chazi.
Yeah, it just.
You didn't like that it was in Yiddish. Yeah, I know.
No.
Rabbi speaking in Yiddish is already.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, both my parents speak Yiddish, but yes, I'm not a fan of
rabbis speaking in Yiddish. I know.
Yes, I'm not a fan of rabbis speaking in Yiddish.
You're an anti-Semite. I know.
But okay. But Richard, when you asked about, let's say, in like you said, like in Jewish meditation. So Jewish meditation is in many ways like the rabbi.
Well,
We lost Fezzi.
oh, he got a call, probably.
Any idolatry.
You're back.
I'm back, and Max left us.
He did, yes. He waved goodbye. We didn't hear you. So he wasn't saying meditation before medication. He was saying meditation is a form of medication and should be treated as such.
So what were you saying, Hibsy? Because you cut out for most of your.
Well, now he did get a call. When he goes black, he goes, yeah.
I see.
You're back. What were you saying? We didn't hear you.
What I was saying is that, like in Kabbalah, and this is obviously on a very small and specific example, but as part of, let's say, the meditative ritual, you have something called tzirufim. Tzirufim are combinations. So you have different sequences of letters and configurations of different Hebrew letters and different chants, you say, but these are similar to, well, these are similar to technologies to get you into a meditative state. So, like, not eating, being very silent for a very long time, getting into sort of a mantra that allows you to sort of get into that meditative state. So there are some things that are similar, which is like what the human psyche needs to get into those trances, so to speak. However, then there is a difference, because if you do believe, let's say, in the power of words, and you believe in what you're orienting yourself, and you believe in like the holiness of certain letters, so then there's a specific order you'd want to be saying those things. However, there is similarities, which is, again, some of these sages that did this would really need would need to do things like, it's called hitvodedut, which means like you put yourself like you isolate yourself, you go into the woods. So again, I also think ultimately even the concept of mindfulness, it became like very very big, and that's like Sam Harris's like meditative app. This is all showing you how the world is slowly but surely clawing its way back towards what I think is like, trying to get back to like a divine place, which we don't have to get deep into this right now, which is ultimately why when I say I'm like a fan of postmodernism, and I mean like soft postmodernism, it's because the tearing down of old narratives is what potentially will allow for the return of prophecy and prophetic vision and prophetic kind of conversations. But we need to have a breakdown of modernity, or the modernity lenses we have, modern lenses we have on. So really, I'm postmodern.
Mm-hmm.
We're all postmodern.
Exactly.
Haven't you seen all my videos on being post-Platonic?
Post-Platonic. Okay, so exactly. So I think that's where we are. I know Mark Lefebvre doesn't like when I say like I'm pro postmodernism in a certain extent. He goes like nuts off of that. But
postmodernism had good critiques of modernism. The problem with postmodernism is it didn't offer any answers to those critiques.
Well,
but there's something about that's also terrifying when, like, if you destroy these narratives and you are, left with like the nothingness. There's I could recommend, by the way, Jacob, I'm just going to show you my reading for Shabbat. So I have The House of Ishmael. This is a paper that I printed out talking about our relationship with our Muslim brothers. This relates to a conversation you and I were having, Jacob, which is Sanhedrin Achshav, the conversation about like the Sanhedrin in today's day.
And you printed out Maneh Chacham, and you're going to study it over Shabbos?
And then I have this other thing here. One second. One sec. Where is it? Oh, here. Okay. And then I have postmodernism and Judaism, but I recommend going on shagar.co.il, Rav Shagar, and he writes a lot about this. He has a fantastic book that you could also find in English. In Hebrew, it's called Shivrei Luchot, Luchot v'Shivrei Luchot. In English, it's called Covenant. Shoot, I'm blanking on the name. Rav Shagar, something Covenant. But I recommend it. Like, if you want to take a look of like someone doing like a deep dive into Judaism and postmodernism, and he's like a heavy hitter as well. So he's read a book or two. He's aware of some stuff. So also recommended.
So you're
But that
telling
also-
me
yeah, sorry,
you're
go ahead.
telling me that the rabbis are being infected by postmodernists.
I'm saying that his attitude is postmodernism is here, and we either need to deal with it or we could just try to ignore it. But that's sort of not the attitude. And he tries to also define the holy sparks in it. And generally, he also connects it to Kabbalah. But postmodernism brings you to a place of Ein Sof. It brings you to the Ein. It brings you to the nothingness when you start bringing down all these narratives, and it potentially allows us to reestablish terms and better understand certain terms ourselves. So we could rearm our toolkit and our theological understanding moving on. However, he does differentiate between soft and hard postmodernism, and how where it gets too radical. But interesting, something worth a read.
I have to wonder if this guy actually knows what he's talking about, which would make me very happy. Which actually it sounds like he might. Or if he's just one of the many, 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 many religious figures who have fallen for postmodernism. And Tiffany says, sounds so Baha'i right now. And yes, you're right, Tiffany, which is what scares me.
He passed away recently. Unfortunately, he passed away.
Okay, so he can't do any more damage.
He can't do any more damage. Well, and that's not true. Since he died, his books became a lot more popular. So there's that. But I find him. I'm just gonna put down my. I find him as I see he is a very influential figure. But I'm also thinking, Jacob. So you're a halachic man. Your halachic man, the halachic man group you guys have, the reading group you guys have, and you guys are going about that. Do you feel like that's going well? People are happy?
I really don't know. I mean, it's like they seem to like it. I mean, at least Elijah and now I'm forgetting her name, Sandy. And Ben likes it, and frankly, if one of them was so people are watching, and if people like it, then I'll try to be there. I don't know if I'm contributing much because I'm not going to read Halachic Man again. Tiffany, so I actually have a video explaining this stuff, which what did I call it? It used to be the one that was on my channel. It was the default one on my channel, but it's not anymore, I don't think.
Was that the post-Platonic one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget what it's called. Yeah.
I think I took it off though. I don't think it's my.
Yeah, it's not the default anymore. I think I saw it. Yeah, I go through for Victoria's video.
Yeah, so I tried to make a video explaining this stuff quickly, although I don't know how quickly it's possible to explain this stuff. Yeah, I think this is it, the 15-minute post-Platonic one. Here, I will put it in the chat. It's we use it in a very specific way, but well, it's jargon. It's philosophical jargon, so that's part of the problem.
What? What are you
Is
talking
there-
about?
Well, you were talking about modernity and postmodernism, and Tiffany was like, "I have no clue what they're talking about."
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. So, I mean, these, I mean, well, you know, these are new concepts, obviously, or these weren't new concepts, then then they were introduced, and now the world is trying to make its way through the muck and try to figure out what's what. So yes, obviously, it's very devastating. It's very nerve-wracking if you demolish the narratives that our world is based on, or our culture is based on, and you don't offer anything instead. Yes, like you were mentioning, Jacob, that is extremely devastating. And Jordan Peterson always uses an example of, yes, there's a million different ways. If you're inside a theater and there's a fire, you could decide to run across and jump on people. You could decide to run into the wall. There's many things you could do, but there are versions that make more sense. And we still need to be guided through which options make more sense, even though if we're aware that there are a million options out there. We still have to focus on the things that will be more successful, that make more sense. So, again, destroying all these narratives and just saying that everything's an option allows for psychopathy. It's very devastating for the human psyche to just have no restrictions, whether it's psychological or theological, which clearly leads to nihilism, which is why we're in the meaning crisis, and full circle back to this little corner.
Yep.
Jacob, I was gonna ask Rabbi Malot about the Khatam Sofer, but I knew it was gonna upset you, so I didn't do it.
What about the Khatam Sofer?
No, about the Noahides.
Oh, I don't look. I'm not opposed to Noahides keeping Shabbos personally. I first of all, I would like to see what the Khatam Sofer says.
I sent it to you.
You did?
Yeah. I sent you the quote. Richard, while Jacob's looking for this, just to explain to you what I sent him. Generally speaking, people that are interested in Judaism during this process of searching and practicing, or getting used to the laws of Judaism, they are restricted on keeping the Shabbat. As in, there are many things they can do. They could pray. They could have some dietary restrictions, but historically and traditionally, we know that they don't keep the Shabbat. Having said that, there are opinions specifically with regards to Noahides that if they are taking it seriously and they're going through this process, then they can keep
By
the
the
Shabbat.
way, just today I heard Rabbi Breitowitz reiterate that Noahide should not keep Shabbat, although that wasn't the actual question. And the only thing I see is that book which had that obscene phrase on it, which made me upset, that has nothing to do with the Khatam Sofer.
You're talking about, okay, so
Is this what you're talking about? We lost him again.
Yeah. So Shabbat is a month.
No, Shabbat is the Sabbath.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So So the Bible says that it actually says, it may be in the 10 Commandments, but God says, Ot hi leolam beini ubeinechem. It is a sign for forever between you and between me.
Mm.
And so the Jewish interpretation is that the Sabbath is a sign reserved to Israel, and basically that a Gentile keeps the Sabbath, exactly what that means, but like with the idea that they are in fact Israel,
Right.
that then they are stealing, which is a grave sin.
Right. Okay. Okay. Because when you Google Shabbat, it talks about the 11th month.
No, that's Shvat.
So how do you spell Shabbat?
Shabbat is Shabat.
Oh, S-H-A. Shabbat.
Yeah, with a B, not with a V.
Yeah.
The month is Shvat.
Okay, right.
Jacob, I sent it to you on your Discord. You want to read it out for a second?
Sure.
Short. Short and sweet.
Regarding Ben Noach keeping Shabbat, V'ayen Rambam, Perek Yud Melachim.
The classic Rambam.
Yes, the actual Rambam.
Right.
Halacha Tet, so chapter 10 of the Laws of Kings, and Halacha 9. The Heyud and 15. Shenirah Mechalek Bein Akum Lebein Noach. That he makes a he distinguishes between a Ben Noach and an idolater. Leben Noach she'oto kibel alav shelo la'avod avodah. That Ben Noach accepted upon himself not to be an idolater. V'zeh mutar lishvot, and he is allowed to keep the Sabbath. V'lekayem hamitzvot sheyitzeh, and to keep those commandments which he wants. Umizeh mekablen korbanot, and from such a person we can accept sacrifices. Umelamdin lo Torah, and we teach him Torah. Mekablen mimenu tzedakah, and we allow him to give charity. V'hashta what's that Rosh Tevot?
Well, I'm not looking at it. 1 second.
Lahashta Lamed Kuf Mem. Lost it again. Shabbat mi'ika midi dahare gam goy im eino oved avodah zara mutar lishvot.
Lekamash Malan. We learn from here.
Oh, and from there we learn, okay, that a Gentile who keeps the Sabbath, mi'ika midi, I'm not even sure what that means. I mean, I know what those words mean, but I don't know what he's saying. Dahare gam goy. So this proves that such a Gentile, because he does not keep the because he does not he is not an idolater, he can keep the Sabbath. But why for years and years and years have we been telling converts? I mean, these are people who are coming mamish to convert. Obviously, it's you're allowed to teach them the entirety of the Torah. Like my friend in yeshiva, he was in Talmud class with me, and he still had to. He was still told to break Shabbos B'davka.
So I'm trying to still distill this because, like I've told you in the past, the Chatam Sofer is not a little kid, and Rav Shirky feels very right. Of course, I know you don't think he's not, and Rav Shirky is very much very much builds his thing around this, saying that he goes according to this understanding, this interpretation of Maimonides. And he's like, let's it's from here. It's like off to the races. So, like you just mentioned, this is very different than what we traditionally were taught. So, I still need to distill this a little more. I still need to understand this a little better.
I do too, because now I have to look in Rambam and the Mefarshim. But I have to say, it sounds a lot like trying to find somebody you agree with. Because guess what? I'm guessing Rav Shirky is not a huge fan of the Khatam Sofer.
No, that's not true at all. He's just, first of all, there's like Maimonides said, Kabbalah Ta'imet mi Piyom Ra, right? Accept the truth from who says it. It doesn't matter if it's a philosopher, it doesn't matter if it's a baker. We're searching for truth. That's number one. Number two, Rav Shirky has more, and this is sort of I lay this on like at the feet of the other rabbis or the Jewish community. No one was picking up the mantle of dealing with the Noahide community, right? And so here he comes and says like, okay, so I'm going to do this, and if I'm going to do it, this is how I'm going to do it. And people can come and say like, oh, we don't do it that way. Like, okay, so you pick up the mantle. But you're not.
I agree with you 1,000,000,000%, and you know.
So it's called making moves.
Right, and I agree 1,000,000%. Although I have to say, when the Rebbe was alive, he actually sent Rabbi Shochat on a shlichus to paskin shalas for Noachites, to the point that when you search questions about Noachites on Google today, you will find actual responses in bulletin board systems from Rabbi Shochat. So like it wasn't nobody, but the Rebbe died, and then Rabbi Shochat died, and now everyone who's left is a putz. So there we go.
Yeah, he's gone.
And Chezi is gone, and it's going to be Shabbat. Shabbat soon there.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Tiffany says, I feel like we need restrictions. A boyfriend says, the assumptions of modernism should be weighed individually, but not as a whole. Yeah, but there are, I mean, you cannot throw modernity completely out. The people who who say they're pre-modernists or want to go back to before modernity, I think they're idiots. At the same time, I think people who say they are postmodern are similarly idiots, because postmodernism doesn't offer any answers. It only offers criticisms. And destroying everything is not going to get you anywhere good anytime soon.
Yeah. It just doesn't work. Like I read recently, like postmodernism makes you say that it is true that there is no truth, and if you believe that, you're insane. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it contradicts itself. Yeah, like the actual postmodernists, not like the postmodernists of the 50s and the 60s.
Yeah, sure.
Like they didn't actually like advocate for much at all. They just sat around and were nihilistic. And it's like, okay, like at least that makes some sense, to say the world is absurd and like spend your life in sex, drugs, and rock and roll and taking lots of drugs and like whatever. Yeah. But like then to pretend that you can take over the world with your weird things, it's like, okay. 4 more minutes and then I am going to bed, because I should actually do productive things with my life, and you should do productive things with your life.
So, I do have a question for you, because we covered Mark, and what do you believe that Jesus himself proclaims food to be clean? Yeah, I feel like I've heard you say that he doesn't.
He does not.
So, like, because you talk about the crayon.
Yes.
So I'm in Mark 7, and like the parenthetical is, thus he declare all foods clean. But my question is, what does he mean then? I'm in chapter 7, verse 18. And he talks about how nothing that can go into a man can defile him. And so
okay, so the thing is, like, what goes into you does not defile you, but what comes out of you, like that's a completely different thing, right? And frankly, like the proof most people bring is if Jesus really believed that, then Peter in Acts shouldn't need a vision because they were already not keeping kosher, right? But they were keeping kosher. And
Right.
so the idea that Jesus said those things, like the best you can do as a Christian is say that Jesus was hinting at something that only became true many years later.
Right.
But
Okay.
Jesus himself obviously did not teach these things correctly.
Okay. So you think the vision is a later addition?
Oh, the vision? Yeah, I don't think the vision. And I don't care about the vision. I mean,
Right.
if you have a vision from Satan telling you that you can go against God's laws, like
True. But so basically, is it like on your interpretation of Jesus, you have to disregard most of the New Testament then.
well, it's not just me. I mean, James Tabor. I think if you're an honest Protestant, no, well, I mean, so the people who are actually taking into consideration like all the arguments that are being made, and yes, I know that theory, Tiffany. No, I don't think that's what was going on. So you can take Eisenman's point of view, which I think is defensible. I think Father Stephen DeYoung tries very hard to make a defensible argument, and that's why I'm having the conversations that I'm having with him. And he's honestly making real arguments. So James Tabor, Michael Eisenman, Father Stephen, this guy Bergsma, he's a Catholic. I haven't really read too much about him, but when I was listening to him, he sounded like somebody who was seriously looking at the evidence. But the vast majority of Christians, they have no clue what the Dead Sea Scrolls say, or prefer not to actually consider the types of arguments that Robert Eisenman makes. And like, I'm sorry, the old perspectives of Paul, which are basically what Christianity has been teaching for 2,000 years, are just completely indefensible.
Sure. Yeah. All right.
I wanted to say goodbye to you guys properly. I'm sorry I got cut off that way. Just on the last thing you said about Jacob, you said like it could be a vision of, of
Satan. Yeah.
Satan vision. But I was saying Judaism in general, we don't have a problem with someone saying like, oh, but this guy did a miraculous thing, or someone did some sort of miracle. He had a vision. Like it could have been prophetic. It could have been miraculous. Does it negate what the Torah says? And if it does, then it's no good. So saying like, is this the guy the Messiah? Look, he's quoting the whole Bible. Okay, good indication. He's doing miraculous things. Awesome, great indication. He said, don't observe the Shabbat. So beep. Not relevant anymore, because like it doesn't mean that the things like the kid he saved with magic or with divine power. It could be that it's divine power. It could be it's a super skilled person. It just wouldn't mean that. It would just mean that there's like that doesn't work with like what our scriptures say. So
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you have to keep Shabbat. You have to stay away from the Zionists.
Shabbat shalom, boys.
All right.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
We all have to jet.
Yeah.
I am ending this.